Hello everyone, this is Canuck the Wolf here, and I am back doing another response video. But this time, this response video is not for Girls with Sabers. No, this time it's for AdAtChat in his recent video, The Force Awakens set up Reylo perfectly. Man, I did not think I'd be going back to doing response videos, but here I am. So let's get started, shall we?
Star Wars is a tale as old as time. A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, is our fandom's Once Upon a Time, and that's completely okay with me. I love fairy tales. Star Wars is a fairy tale at its core, and all
Star Wars is more like space opera mixed with science fantasy. Not really a fairy tale type of story. It's externally about good versus evil. It's internally about the dysfunctional Skywalker solo clan.
all fairy tales share similarities. The sequel trilogy happens to have what I consider the strongest tale so far in the mainline saga, and that's of Ben and Rey's connection. Or as the people say, Reylo. Ben Solo and Rey were linked way before The Last Jedi, no question. The idea that these two Force users would unite and potentially be the balance each other needs was already alluded to during The Force Awakens. Reylo is the point of this entire trilogy, and where Rian Johnson went with these two characters were answers to questions JJ already set up in his own film. Side note, if you honestly think that two people falling in love or forming a strong connection in Star Wars is lame or super Twilight, then I have to assume you actually never liked Star Wars to begin with.
Well, romance in Star Wars is pretty common since Han and Leia's relationship was interesting to watch in the original trilogy, and Anakin and Padme's relationship in the prequel trilogy was essential to the story. Also, Revan and Bastila Shan's relationship in KOTOR was pretty big of a deal since it started the Shane clan. Just saying.
Now back to the video. What questions do I think J.J. Abrams set up in The Force Awakens to prep us for that potent moment in TLJ? No, not that one. This one. I think the questions were, what would happen if two Force users on opposing sides realized they were more alike than they would want to admit? What if both of these people had a troubled childhood centered around parental abandonment? What if these people are pretending to be something they aren't? And what if all this time, all they really wanted was to belong? For me, Rian's mission was showing us what Kylo and Rey could achieve together if they are in harmony. JJ's mission was placing breadcrumbs throughout The Force Awakens, so this relationship would be inevitable.
According to an interview in a French magazine with Daisy Ridley, Rian Johnson took J.J. Abrams' outline and threw it out. He didn't keep anything.
Reylo, for me, doesn't specifically cater to only a sense of romance between these two characters. It goes deeper than that. It's a living dualism. Without the dark, there can be no light, and The Last Jedi finally acknowledges this, but it took careful setup.
Yes, there's an idea of balance in the Star Wars universe. The dark side and the light side will always coexist with each other, because it's inside every Force wielder. However, the more one used the dark side, the less they would have of the light side in them. That's how it was originally, until the sequel trilogy came along and changed the fundamental knowledge about how the Force's opposing yet connected sides worked. Yes, a Jedi could become a Sith, and a Sith could become a Jedi, but it took not only an external force like someone they knew to help them cross over. It also took a lot of internal courage and power inside them to push them over.
The foundation of this connection, at least in my eyes, began on Takodana when Rey encountered Kylo Ren in the forest. One quick observation for people who did not pick up on this yet, Reylo's excluded, is that Takodana is basically a classic fairy tale setting. Castle, heroine in distress, prince.
First of all, Maz's castle was simply a bigger, more isolated cantina where pirates, smugglers, bounty hunters, and criminals could just hang out without governments interfering. Second, I know Snoke referred to Kylo as Darth Vader's heir or something like that, but that doesn't make him royalty. I know his mother is Princess Leia, well, now General Leia, but after Alderaan was destroyed and people found out Leia's true parentage, I'm pretty sure no one saw Ben or Kylo as a prince.
Kylo Ren used the mind probe on Rey to obtain information about the star map just like he did with Poe, but rather than having her escorted back to the shuttle by stormtroopers, he puts her to sleep or force faints her and proceeds to carry her in his own arms.
Maybe because it was more convenient for him since he ordered the division to be pulled out and he needed to get out of there just in case someone tried to save Rey from him. Just a guess.
It was really interesting to me at the time that he chose to do this, and obviously now I understand why. He chose to carry Rey all the way to his ship rather than let her get dragged around by troopers. He cared for her safety. At least this is what I believe.
You believed he cared? Now, granted, in the Force Awakens novelization, which is irrelevant now, it was implied Kylo knew who she was, but like I said, the novelization is irrelevant now because Rian Johnson dropped whatever J.J. Abrams set up.
It had me wondering if during the initial mind probe, he felt what Rey truly feels about her parents.
I doubt he gave a shit about how she was feeling at that moment as he force probed her mind for information.
Maybe he sensed her longing for an answer as to why she was tossed away. Maybe he saw how she lies to herself and to others about her predicament on Jakku. Either way, something happened here to cause Kylo Ren to place Rey literally into his arms. An idea that has been growing in my mind concerning Kylo Ren is perhaps that in his youth when he was sent to Uncle Luke, maybe he had a moment just like Rey did, watching her caregivers leave her. Maybe young Ben Solo saw the Falcon taking off from Luke's academy, and then Ben ran after it, screaming for Han to come back.
I'll give it to you that in the book The Last Shot, Ben didn't want Han to leave him. However, we don't know what age he was when he was sent to Luke for Jedi training. Besides, he eventually grew distant from his father because of his parents' separation since they went back to doing what they were best at, Leia to politics and Han to smuggling. Also, there's the fact that Snoke was apparently getting to Ben during his Jedi training, the extent of which we don't know about yet.
Now, this is probably something that is not going to be seen, something that probably won't even happen on film, but it's something I often consider when thinking about Kylo Ren's interrogation of Rey. Now, with that said, the other extremely potent moment for setup of Reylo in The Force Awakens is when Rey wakes up in Kylo Ren's interrogation chamber. On the one hand, Kylo Ren does want to get answers about the map to Luke for his own selfish reasons, and for his master. But Kylo is also curious about Rey. Rey is the girl he's heard so much about. The interrogation scene starts with Rey literally awakening, but Kylo is watching her with his helmet on. Now, I don't think Kylo has, I believe it's called somnophilia, and that's when you get attracted to people who are sleeping. But what I think he has is a sense of this connection for the first time to somebody else other than a wrinkly giant hologram who wears gold slippers. Now let's go way back to what I originally said in my first paragraph, tale as old as time. Why did I even mention that? Well, as far as I can tell, J.J. Abrams used a lot of imagery similar to Beauty and the Beast, and if you think I'm wrong, hold on. Yeah. Then, in the interrogation room, he tells Rey she is his guest. He might as well have started singing Be Our Guest out loud to really drive home this similarity.
Oh my god. I can see why you and Girls with the Sabers get along. You know, I'm not going to go into a discussion or spiel about the differences between the Beast and Kylo Ren, but I will say that if you believe you can fix someone with the power of love and that's all you need, then you are wrong because no one in any relationship is supposed to be their partner's fucking life coach.
Rey calls him just some creature in a mask because, for all Rey knows, Kylo Ren, this dark warrior, is a monster, until he decides to show Rey his actual face. When Kylo shows who he really is to Rey, she is completely confused. She's looking at a handsome, tall guy with a nice head of hair and extremely needy eyes. He's just a boy pretending to be this evil warrior.
He's in his fucking 30s. He's not a boy, he's a grown-ass man. Rey, on the other hand, is stated to be about 19 years old. She's still young and impressionable. He's actually old enough to be her father, if he had sex with a woman when he was in his late teens, early 20s. Like any girl would let him touch her.
And while he maintains this front a bit with the mask off, Rey ends up exposing more of his own vulnerabilities, and that's not something Ren is used to. This scene has a lot of tears, it has close talking, and it has fear. To me, that kind of sounds like a first date, but joking aside,
Ha, ha, fucking ha.
this is a scene showing off that Kylo Ren wants to get to know who Rey is. Although she turned the tables in the interrogation room by exposing Kylo Ren's greatest fear, he doesn't lash out at her. He goes to his master to let him know what happened, and that she is strong in the Force. Of course, Snoke wants this girl brought before him. He does not want the Jedi to be reborn. But as far as I can tell, Kylo wants to keep Rey around. He wants a Force friend. And yeah, I realize how that sounds. And to close this all up, the lightsaber duel on Starkiller Base really did seal the Reylo deal. Kylo Ren is not at all interested in killing Rey. He wants to see how strong she is, and he wants to see what she is capable of. Now, somebody's going to comment down here, but why did he force push her against a tree so brutally? Well, remember, in this moment, Kylo Ren is dealing with the fact that he just killed his father, he's gotten shot, and he's bleeding out. He's currently unbalanced.
And, he slashed Finn's back. You know Finn, right? He's Rey's first real friend, and he cares about her. She cares about him. They very much do care about each other. Finn's still there. He's always in the picture when it comes to Rey. Just reminding you.
When Rey and Kylo lock sabers on Starkiller Base, he lays it bare that he wants to be Rey's teacher and to show her the ways of the Force. He doesn't say he wants to train her to be a Sith or a Jedi. Kylo Ren says to train her in the ways of the Force.
And the Empire Strikes Back, after revealing to Luke that he's Luke's father, Darth Vader says,
"Luke, you can destroy the Emperor. He has foreseen this. It is your destiny. Join me, and together we can rule the galaxy as father and son. Come with me. It is the only way."
Never in his speech to Luke, before and after the reveal, does Vader say he'll train him in the ways of the dark side. He simply wants his son to join him so they can end this galactic civil war, kill the Emperor, and be father-son co-rulers. That's it. Is there a hint of dark sideness to it? Hell yeah. So does Kylo's offer to Rey. There's the sinister hint that Kylo will train her in the ways of the dark side of the Force, even though he simply says ways of the Force to her.
Kylo Ren and Rey are something else completely in my eyes than just mere Jedi or Sith. Of course, their allegiances in the film follow the tropes of the original trilogies, but to me, the two of them are the dualism of the Force incarnate. I think deep down that the two of them also know this truth, or at least they do after The Last Jedi. In The Force Awakens, they were not able to be in harmony yet. There wasn't enough intimacy created between the two of them. The Last Jedi's Force bond created that space for actual intimacy, and I'm sure a lot of people were shocked when they saw this in theaters, was what that all built toward.
That supposed intimacy didn't work out for either of them, if I remember correctly. Besides, their Force Skype calls in The Last Jedi amounted to them fighting, and Kylo manipulating her, and them touching hands like once. Their last Force Skype call was Rey closing the literal door on Kylo. She didn't want anything to do with him.
Besides the hand touch through the Force, this all led towards the most intense battle on the supremacy, as Kylo Ren and Rey finally started to work together.
Oh yes, because they totally fought together in that throne room scene. Yes, completely. Even though Rey was only fighting basically one person per time, and Kylo's fighting essentially three people at once. But yes, they were definitely working together. And by working together, you mean Rey helped save Kylo's ass, because he was pretty much losing his fight at the end. But yeah, everyone, that's AT-AT Chat's video. That's the end of it. That's the end of my response. It was a short video, thank God, because man, that That would have been a doozy to go on if it was any longer. But hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. And may the force be with you, always.